Hello, grade 9s. We're going to do question 3, effect on the counting equation for control test number 2. Okay, so there's 4 transactions here, 1 to 4, and there's your answers 1 to 4 that you have to write it down. Okay, each one of these transactions will have a debit, account debited, and account credited. And then it will also show the effect in terms of the amounts on the left or right hand side of each of these accounts. Okay, so now I want to show you something. Alright, so normally assets become more on the debit side, less on the credit side. And I want you to have a look over there. There you will see the debit side already and the credit side of assets. Okay? So then for owner's equity, I'm going to write it underneath as well. So for owner's equity, normally the plus is on this side, minus on that side. And you will look to the top here, the credit side, there's a plus, debit side, there's a minus. And then lastly, the liabilities. Okay, so there's a plus on the credit side and a minus on the debit side. Alright, so to do the first transaction now. Okay, so we're going to do the first transaction, and that will be paid 500 Rand in cash for stationery board. Okay, so paid 500 Rand cash for stationery board. So what kind of account is bank? Because you're paying out of the bank account. So bank is an asset. Alright, so there's your asset. So I can just work from here onwards, I can work with the assets. Okay, so what happened to your cash in the bank? It decreased. So I'm going to write the 500 Rand over here. Okay. So what side is this? This is the credit side. So that means I'm going to write on the credit side of the account debited or credited. So I'm going to write account. Under the account credited, I'm going to write bank. Okay. Now, what did I buy? I bought stationery. Okay, so the other account will be stationery. Now, it's important for you to know that stationery is owner's equity, to be able to know where to put the amount. Okay? If it's on the debit side and it's owner's equity, then you have to put it here. But let's think logically about it. Alright. If I buy stationery, the money of the business will decrease. Okay? The owner's equity is the money of the business, it will decrease. Okay? So that is stationery. Alright, so it's on the debit side here, so I must write it on the debit side there as well. So you work correctly. Remember that there's an equal sign in the middle. So this must be equal to that. So minus 500 is equal to minus 500. So then you know you worked correctly. Okay, let's look at the second one. Bought trading stock on credit. So what kind of account is trading stock? It's an asset. Okay, so let's look at the assets. I bought trading stock, so I've got more trading stock, so I have to write it on the left hand or debit side. 1,000. Okay, so trading stock on the debit side. So this is the debit side, so I have to write it here on the debit side as well. So I write here trading stock. Okay, so that's the first one. Okay. Right, so that was trading stock. So the next one that I'm going to look at is I bought it on credit. Okay, so I bought it on credit. Okay, I bought it on credit. So if I buy something on credit, I have to write creditors control as the other account. Remember, there's only 2 options. I already wrote it on the one side, so the other account must be on the credit side. What kind of account is creditors control? It can't be bank here because I didn't pay cash for it. Okay, so I didn't pay cash for it, I bought it on credit. And creditors control is a liability account. Okay, so I'm going to write 1,000 on that side because I'm owing more money now. More money to other people. I've got more liabilities, so that's why it's on the credit or plus side. And if you just follow here, you'll see that creditors control is on the credit side. It's credited, and then also it's on the credit side here as well. So that's correct. Plus 1,000 is equal to plus 1,000, so therefore you worked correctly. Okay. Now, the third one, receive 12,000 Rand from a tenant for renting office space. If I'm receiving money, I'm going to put it in the bank account. Bank is an asset. So that means I'm going to put that 12,000 Rand, I'm going to put on the debit side plus 12,000 Rand on the left hand side because it's a plus. I'm increasing my bank account. So I have to write bank on this side as well. Okay, so bank increases, which is an asset. Okay, and now I received from a tenant. So if I receive money, it's rent. It can either be rent income or rent expense, but because I'm receiving, it will be rent income. Now, rent income is a owner's equity account. So on the credit side, it means that the owner's equity becomes more. Think about it. Rent income increases the owner's equity, so it must be put on that side. So that is correct, plus 12,000 Rand. Okay, so 12,000 here, 12,000 there. That is equal to each other. There's an equal sign in the middle, so that is correct. And then the last one, the owner withdrew 3,000 Rand for personal use. Okay, so the bank account becomes less. Now, bank again is an asset. Bank decreases, okay, minus 3,000 Rand. Okay, so bank will be credited, okay, and then you withdrew it for personal use, so the other account will be drawings. Okay, drawings is a owner's equity account, and it's on the debit side here, so that means if it must be on the debit side here as well. And just think about it. Drawings, if I take drawings out of the business, the money of the business, the owner's equity, becomes less, and that's correct. It becomes less by withdrawing the money. So it's minus 3,000 here and minus 3,000 there as well. Is minus 3,000 equal to minus 3,000? Yes, it's correct. So therefore, what will you be able to do now? You will say that this you've worked correctly because it's equal to each other. Alright, so that was number 3 or question 3 for control test number 2.